Episode 32, Hungover. We all woke to the sound of Dave falling over his cooler as he struggled to get up. It made a loud, hollow thud as the lid flopped shut while it rolled. He let out a damn it, ensuring that if the cooler didn't wake us, he did. I lifted my head up. My neck ached. My head ached. My entire body ached. I was thirsty. I was hungry. I needed to get out of the sun. I needed to throw up. Denny didn't look at me. He rolled onto his back and groaned, covering his eyes with his hands. Jackson let out a "fuck this" as he pulled up into a sitting position, cradling his head. His hair stuck out like an anime character. Most everyone was laying like confetti on the ground, with the exception of Ray and Carol. Darcy looked like she tried to go home, but slept curled up at her fence. My blankets had been spread out, with people using them as cover or as pillows. I put my hand on Denny's leg and was about to say something, but couldn't. Instead, I got up and ran inside, right to my bucket. Just like that, I was ruined on moonshine. When I finished, I struggled to fit the lid back on as I fell on my back on the ground and closed my eyes. I was still spinning. I put my palm flat to the ground again, settled, and passed back out. I woke to Ray's voice saying my name, carrying a bowl of food. He had taken the leftover gravy, fatty bits, and bones and stewed them with rice. I rolled on my side and nursed it to my mouth while still laying on the ground. It tasted like a watery meat porridge, but my stomach welcomed the grease. "Thank you," I groaned. I pulled myself to a sitting position, gaining strength. "Do you want a shot to take the edge off?" he asked. "Dave has the leftovers at his place." "I don't ever want to see it again," I laughed weakly. "I feel like I fell into the shit ravine." "Well, it would at least be a soft landing," he laughed back. "Oh." I imagined the cartoonish splat it would make. "How is everyone else?" "You mean Denny?" he prodded. "No, everyone," I snorted. "No one died," he shrugged. I laughed weakly. "Always a bonus." "Most everyone is up and moving now," he said, leaning against the long storage chest, sleeves rolled up. "I haven't seen Denny. I assume he went back home." "I need to go to the RV and do some cleaning. I think I should be there every day to keep the claim on it," I said, thinking out loud. I scratched at a clod of dirt clinging to my leg. "Good idea. It's only midday. You've got time," he said, turning to leave. After a minute, I got to my feet. I poured some water in a bowl, pulled my sweater off, wet the sleeve, and drug it over my skin. It felt cleansing and nauseating at the same time. The coldness releasing heat from my skin made me more aware of the pain in my head and how the hairs on my arm hurt, but I kept going. I poured some water into my scalp and worked it in. Again, a rush of relief and illness struck me. My skin crawled. I squished the sweater a few times in the water and hung it to dry. I pulled on new clothes and stepped out into the sunlight, the unforgiving sunlight. I went back in immediately. I would need more backup. I reemerged with my hair in a bun, a visor, and the comically large sunglasses I used to evade the cameras when I went to town. Ray had already folded the blankets and stacked them beside my fence. I pulled them inside. There wasn't anything more for me to do, so I grabbed my wagon and made my way to the RV. It stood just as it had the day before, and I was happy to have some time alone with it. As I opened the gate, several water bottles kicked out of the way. First order of business was to hang Marty's flag. I took some rope and tied it to the fence as high as I could, which wasn't high at all, but it would do for now. I stepped outside the gate to see how it looked. The wind blew the white shirt with its red X up against the fence, forming little diamond pillows against the metal chain links. It made me feel like a badass. For as many times as I'd seen one and diverted my eyes, I struggled to imagine that's how people would see mine. Next, I set about cleaning the yard. I put everything I could burn in the wagon. There were so many water bottles. I tossed all of them into a cardboard box in the corner that was already half filled. I continued through the yard making piles. Things I could trade, things I could use, things I could burn, things I needed to haul off to the shit ravine. He had a lot of tools, miscellaneous wrenches and greasy rags. I pulled old foam meat trays from behind and under things. There were 3 old tires. I rolled them toward the front corner of the fence and spaced them out, laying them flat. Maybe one day I'd fill them with dirt and plant something. I tucked the burn barrels under the place where the dining area expanded out of the RV. I didn't think I'd need them anytime soon. The large picnic table sat at an awkward angle, like it had been plopped down and never moved again. I tried to drag it. No. I tried pushing it. No. Finally, I got on my back and pushed it with my legs. I managed to budge it a few inches while pushing myself back, skidding away several feet. This wasn't going to work. I lay there thinking what else needed to be done. I eyeballed the patch of grass that grew from under the trailer in one spot. Still laying on the ground, I turned and saw Denny approaching in the distance. I smiled, then stopped myself. I grew self-conscious. He could see me laying here, but he wasn't close enough to know I saw him. I got up and shuffled around. I kicked at the skirting of the RV, tried to wiggle it to look under, then when that didn't work, I wiped at it with my hand. Nice and casual. This is what people do when they're alone, right? Just wiping at the wall. Why am I like this? Hey, Vivi, I heard. I turned around, acting surprised. Denny! You surprised me, I chirped back, walking toward the gate to unlock it. He gave me a large, warm hug. It surprised me. I hugged him back, awkwardly. It was a deep, warm hug, and he did it so casually, like he'd hug his grandma. I feel like roadkill, Denny said, still holding me against him. Episode 33, Multiverse. Me too, I said, still being held. This was getting weird. I pushed away and gained a few feet's distance. Why am I like this? Wow, you've done a lot here. How long have you been up? He asked, hands on hips, surveying the yard. Not too long. There really wasn't a lot. It was just cluttered, I replied. Well, let me help. What are you working on now? He asked. I immediately had him lifting one end of the picnic table. I couldn't lift mine much, but we dragged it to the fence. I didn't like it. We moved it further away. I didn't like that there was no shade falling on it, but remembered I had the beach umbrella at the house. I pulled myself up to sit on top of the picnic table. He joined me. The yard actually looked pretty nice from up here. The ground still bothered me. Rocks, holes, ripples in the hardened dirt. It was going to take a lot of work to make it as nice as my yard. I wouldn't be able to be barefoot for a while. I don't think anyone is going to question if it's claimed now, I said, digging in my hair to itch under the chopstick holding my bun together. He shook his head. When are you going to move in? A difficult question. There was no denying I was here cleaning it up to live here. But my mind wasn't ready to admit that yet. I'd be a fool not to. But the truth is, I am a fool sometimes. I probably will soon. I'm just stalling. I responded cautiously. What's still keeping you from it? He asked with a laugh. How do I explain to the guy sleeping on the dirt that I don't know which house to live in? Well, do I want a pile of blankets that I've earned on my own over the years? Or the couch and dining table of the guy that tried to rape me? Do I want a working refrigerator? Or do I want to be surrounded by all the people who keep me safe and happy in this world? You won't be that far away, Vivi, he said, consolation in his voice. Do I sleep in the room with my attacker's blood absorbed into the floor and walls? Or do I sleep in his bed? I felt a moment of resentment. I wished I didn't have to make this choice. Then regretted not being excited about the wealth that fell on me. How lucky am I that he tried to rape me? Hell, how lucky is the next girl that might have lost? There wouldn't be any treasure for her. Fate had delivered me a boss fight and rewarded me with his loot. I earned his fridge and everything connected to it. There's just a lot to think about, I said. No, I get it, he replied. He really, really didn't. I realized if I moved here, he would be the obvious inheritor of my house. I wouldn't need a mountain of blankets with this bed. I decided I'd leave half and trade half. I supposed he or Jackson could continue helping Ray with food, but it left me concerned about my role in the area. They'd still need me for runs, I guess. Knowing my house would go to a good person, someone who fit in, someone I liked, someone who would continue to suffer if I didn't, solidified what I already knew to be true. I would be living at Marty's. I decided to make him work for it. Want to help me with the inside? I asked. Yeah, he chirped back. We went inside and began emptying the front cockpit, the drawers, and the bunk above it. We dragged everything to the center and sorted it again into piles. I found myself wanting to keep the title and registration paperwork from the glove box, despite it being expired for 8 years. He looked at me, looked at it, laughed, then took it. Yoink, he said, tossing it into the burn pile. I guess the RV isn't going anywhere anyway. We found pens and pencils, half-used notepads. pages dated with tally marks, page after page of in and out. The most recent entry was the day I killed him, 64 in, 98 out. No doubt something tied to his livelihood. I set them aside. Every cupboard was a junk drawer. We found about $60 in change, small tools, forks, seasoning packets, dice, books, hairband CDs from the 80s, a vibrating neck pillow, a battery-powered fan, shoes. Most went to the trade pile. I condensed the rest onto the bunk. The kitchen was the last task. We emptied cabinets, sorted, put things back. Chipped ice from the freezer and added more steaks. Removed the alcohol, replaced it with water from my bag. I pulled 2 chicken breasts for dinner and set aside cheesy broccoli noodle packs. Denny helped move things back inside. We flirted and laughed the whole time. It felt natural, too natural. I imagined him living here with me someday. As we left, I noticed a few water bottles by the gate and tossed them into the box. "How did those bottles get there?" he asked. "I don't know. I'm finding them everywhere. I think he drank a lot," I said. "No, these were right in front of the gate. I'd have pushed them when I came in," he replied. "You know what? I pushed some aside earlier too," I said slowly. "Do you think the wind blows them?" "There's no wind, Vivi," he laughed, booping my nose. I punched him lightly in the chest. He grabbed my elbow and pulled me in. I giggled, tried to pull away. He wasn't using half his strength. "Shh, shh," he said, burying my face in his chest. I tapped his arm for air. He let me go. I braced myself with my hand on his forearm, catching my breath. When I looked up, he was smiling down at me. Have you ever felt yourself standing on the edge of the multiverse? Toes hanging over, every probability alive at once, waiting to collapse into one outcome. Was he going to joke? Was I going to slip away? Was he going to kiss me, and what kind? Fast and desperate? Slow and purposeful? Maybe a meteor would fall from the sky and squash us both. That's always a possibility. The moment ended. He cupped my cheek, pulling me slightly toward him, smiling wide. "You're fucking adorable. Do you know that?" Then he stepped aside so I could unlock the gate.